My name is Kirk Smalley, and I am president and co-founder of an organization called Stand for the Silent. I do recognize some of you. I have spoken with some of you prior to this, and I appreciate you having me back. Uh, a little bit about Stand for the Silent. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. We started back in 2010 after my wife Laura and I lost our 11-year-old son. His name was Ty. Ty took his own life because of being bullied in school, and
Yeah,
no
God.
one ever did anything to make it stop at the school. After we lost Ty, Laura and I did a bunch of research and found out that that kind of thing was happening far too often in our country. I actually have a list of over 67,000 children that we have lost to suicide because of being bullied in the last 7 years. Do a little math, that comes out to a little over 23 kids a day, almost one every hour. Suicide has become the second leading cause of death in our young people in America, ages 10 to 24 years old. It's second now only to car wrecks. And guys, I can truly tell you the devastation that that causes in families, in schools, and communities. We decided we didn't want to live in a world like that. And so we formed an organization, uh, applied for our 501c3 and received it. And we started traveling around the country, speaking to schools and churches and community organizations, anyone that would invite us. We have actually gone international. We have chapters in 40 states and 18 countries now. A little over 3 years ago, my wife Laura passed away. They told me it was a brain aneurysm, but you know what? I know that my girl died of a broken heart. I watched her miss our son for over 10 years. And after Laura passed, I decided that I had to throw myself into what we were doing full time. I had to triple my efforts so that someday I can maybe hold my wife and my boy again, be the best man that I could be, and save as many kids from doing what Ty did as I possibly could. I have been to a little over 6,200 schools. I've spoken to a little over 4.5 million kids. Um, my schedule is crazy. Like I told you earlier, I just got back from Arizona. I'm headed to California, and then we go to New Mexico, and then let's see, Illinois, Iowa, you name it. I'm probably going there pretty soon. Um, I wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of insight into what our kids are facing in schools and in our world nowadays. Cyberbullying has increased over 75% since the pandemic. Kids are being atrocious online. They feel like they're anonymous. They cyberbullying. I can create a fake Facebook account and I can take a picture of you walking down the school hallway or in the school locker room, do a little bit of Photoshop work, post that picture online and run your life with the click of a button. And I don't have the fear of getting popped in my mouth by you, because it's anonymous. It's a fake Facebook account. You don't know who did it. You don't know who I am. So that has kind of given kids the ability to really increase their bullying efforts on social media platforms. Most parents nowadays, we grew up without social media, without even the internet. We don't understand the impact that it has on our kids. We don't understand what to do if our kid's being bullied on social media and online. So recently we launched a whole new website. It's actually still completely owned and completely our property. It's called socialbullets.org. We worked with a large marketing company called Area 23. They donated $500,000 worth of work to this project for us. What we did was we created an algorithm that tracked social media, cyberbullying across all the social media platforms for a 24-hour period. Area 23's artist drew up 4 posters depicting 4 different types of cyberbullying: age shaming, race shaming, body shaming, and sexual orientation. We got a group of high school kids and their parents together, and on a large screen, we started this algorithm, and they would see the posts off of Facebook and Snapchat and Instagram pop up. They would say, you're stupid, you're ugly, you're fat, nobody likes you, you should just kill yourself, you're worthless. We caught the kids and their parents' reactions to these posts on video. We found out that every 231 times that a child was cyberbullied, one of them tried to take their own life. Every time we hit that number 231, we fired a live bullet at one of those posters at a shooting range. And we caught their reactions to the bullets firing and hitting those targets. And then after this experiment, we interviewed these kids and their parents and got their take on how this all made them feel. What kind of emotions did it cause? What did they think about it? And the video is on that website. Well, just raising that awareness about cyberbullying wasn't enough. We decided we had to have tools to help fix that. And so we developed a guide that's downloadable on that website for parents and kids that teaches them step by step what to do if they're being cyberbullied. That's very important that we learn the steps we need to take. There are ways to fix it. Also, we've got several resources on our parent website that help kids and parents. There's other tools out there. There's a thing called Bark that you can put on your kid's cellular device that monitors their social media presence. It sends alerts to mom and dad if they're being bullied on Facebook or Snapchat or whatever. What I really like about it is it also sends a message to mom and dad if their kid is being the bully. A lot of us want to think that our kids, oh, Tommy would never do such a thing. He's an angel. But Tommy just told Sally on Facebook that she's worthless and she ought to just kill herself. Guys, we are fighting with everything I have, trying to save our babies. I get messages literally by the thousands from the kids I speak to that say, "You saved my life. I was going to kill myself until I heard you speak." The statistics in our country are staggering. 1 out of 4 of our children in America, 25% of our babies, actually would have a plan on how they would take their own life before they graduate from high school. Did y'all know that?
No.
1 out of 4. My boy's school had 1,400 kids in it. That comes out to 350 babies in one school that would have a plan on how they would take their own life before they graduate. Most of these kids think that they're the only ones that have ever had those thoughts. They think they're all alone in this. Nobody knows what I'm going through. Nobody cares. They don't realize that 1 out of 4 of their own classmates are in that same boat and have those same thoughts. Suicide has always been a really taboo subject. People don't want to talk about it, especially when we're talking about children. When 1 out of 4 of our babies have a plan, I think maybe it's time we learn to talk about it with them. Maybe it's time we let them know that it's okay. We we can have those thoughts, but we can talk it out. We don't have to act it out. And that's the only way we're ever going to stop this. If we learn to have those conversations with our kids. You know, I've had a lot of schools that invite me to speak to their students, and they'll tell me, we want you to talk about bullying, but we don't want to talk about suicide.
Oh, yeah.
I can't do that. I can't. My son took his own life because of bullying. We have to get rid of that taboo, thinking that we are going to cause it to happen if we speak about it, because that's not true. These kids already have those thoughts. That 67,000 children that I know of that took their own life here in America, the youngest one on it was a 6-year-old boy. When we have 6-year-old kids taking their own lives, man, it's past time that we learn that we have to have those conversations. We have to speak about it. We have to let these kids know that they can open up to us. They can come to us and they can talk to us about this and we can get them help. Guys, this world that we're living in is so different than when you and I were in school. I promise you it is. These kids are facing so much more with technology and with social media than we could ever imagine. Um, you know, recently we launched a scholarship program to help kids further their education. We now give away twice a year. We give away 4 $5,000 scholarships. We also opened up a state scholarship for 14 states that we have teams and offices in now. Florida is one of those states. There is a $2,500 scholarship twice a year for a Florida student. You know, we launched a back to school backpack program. We're giving away thousands of backpacks filled with school supplies to help kids and families in need. That's something else that we've recently launched. I we just started what we call our Stand for the Silent Student Standout program. It started the 1st of August, where teachers and school personnel can nominate a child for uh, doing an outstanding or act of kindness, random, you know, act of kindness to kids to show them that they get a reward for being a good person, you know, for helping others. You know, I'm trying to come up with literally every idea I can to help these babies. What's important is getting other people involved, you know, people like you. Uh, Shoot, get me invited to local schools, to local organizations down there. Let's do some presentations. Uh, let's open some eyes. I've been to Florida several times. I've spoken at several schools down there, and I'd really like to come back and get more of the kids involved. I've got a couple of chapters in a couple of schools. Um, I've I've got over 332 chapters right now. So don't ask me what school it is at off the top of my head. But you know, I need help. I need help getting these kids and parents to understand what bullying can and does cause. You know, it used to be when we were in school, bullying was something, you know, usually physical, verbal. Uh, we might go out behind the gymnasium and take care of that, you know. Maybe we'd fight a little bit, and maybe tomorrow we'd shake hands and apologize. Nowadays, it's totally different from that. These kids are facing so much. Um, I guess open it up for questions is,
Yes,
So, Kurt,
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 with the ability, with the new technology of AI, they should be able to censor uh, when certain words are used. So is anybody attacking that from that standpoint of having social media put in these safeguards?
right now, I haven't seen anything, you know. First of all, AI scares me to death, because that actually is giving kids even greater ability to create uh, cyberbullying instances and be able to make uh, photographs through that AI platform and Photoshop even more realistic, to where people can't tell whether it's fake or not. But you know, I mean, like Facebook, for instance, they have the most of your social media have the ability for you to report being bullied online, or when you see someone being bullied. uh, they don't actually have the ability for their algorithms catch certain things that are against community standards. um, Everybody always seems to find a way around those, you know. I don't know. Right now, I haven't seen anything that they've implemented to try and shut that down.
Kurt, Kirk. Um, it's actually a twofold question. I've been hearing quite a lot on national media these days about several brave school districts and actual isolated schools where they are totally banning having phones and tablets on campus, period. Which is, you know, being fought by so many other naturally lobbyists, et cetera. But is there any measurable way of looking at what kind of impact that could have? Although everybody knows when the kids go home, they're glued to their computers, but during the school session, which is still, you know, a good, you know, 40% of their day, sorry, 30% of their day, is there anything out there that indicates that that could possibly be at least a step in the right direction?
Yeah, you know, I have read several reports that there have been several schools here in Oklahoma and various other states that, you know, recently have passed those rules and regulations about kids with cellular devices. And I have read, I'm trying to think of what school district it was. There was a school, I think it was in Pennsylvania, if I remember right, when the kids entered the schools. This was actually several years ago. They actually had to turn in their cell phone. They had little, you know, racks or something. They'd leave them in. And over the period of the first year of that, the study that they did showed that it did have a huge impact, not only on bullying instances, but also on the kids' ability to actually learn. You know, the
Yeah,
grades
yeah,
went up.
yeah.
They were concentrating on what they were doing instead of, you know, being on that cell phone in between class even, you know. So I think that is a very, very good move, you know. Uh,
Well,
Technology is wonderful. You know, we have a lot we can learn online. We're in communication just like this, you know, all around the world. but it has to be used properly.
I think there's no downside to properly, I hate the word policing, but you know, the fact that the school ages that you're looking at. I have a grandson who's you know, just turned 14, almost boy genius, but he's at a highly rated school. But the school gives them an iPad as part of their work tools, but it is, dare I say, it is programmed so that you can't use it for Snapchat and TikTok and things like that. So I mean, there's the good side of the technology, and there's a other side that is just the wild, wild west out there, from what I see. I mean, and I'm pretty tech savvy.
Yes, sir. And you know, I mean that is something that you mentioned that is very helpful for parents. You know, we do have the ability to control not only what social media platforms our kids are allowed to be on, but also what websites kids can visit. You know, I mean, there are ways to block certain things. Um, so, you know, getting that information into the hands of parents that don't know that they're, you know, those tools are out there is very, very important.
Kirk, I have a question. You said that you get um, comments from kids that said what you said to them really helped prevent someone um, completing suicide. What is it that you're saying, do you think, that makes that difference? Is it the story or stories that you tell them to let them know they're not alone, or is there more to it than that? What do you say?
We have several kids on our website under those we honor that we speak about during the presentation. I tell about what happened to Ty. Um, you know, we for some reason we seem to touch their hearts. I actually have bullies that come up to me or message me after presentations and say, I never knew that what I was doing could cause this kind of thing, and I'm going to stop, and I want to help make it stop. You know, we let these kids know that, like you say, they are not alone. This, you know, it's okay. Reach out. There's help out here. We want to talk about it. We want to communicate. You know, we want to learn to communicate. You know, we give every one of the kids we speak to one of our wristbands that says, I am somebody. Those glow in the dark because a lot of times when a kid's laying in bed at night, that's when the demons come. That's, you know, so they can actually read that. We give all of them one of our pledge cards that has a pledge on it. You know, they make a promise. It says, from this day forward, I promise to respect those around me as well as respect myself. I am somebody and I can make a difference. I can make another feel loved. I can be the helping hand that leads another back to a path of hope and aspiration. I will not stand silent as others try and spread hatred through my community. Instead, I pledge to lift up these victims and show them that their lives matter. I will be the change because I am somebody. Um, you know, oh, I've had kids come up to me 10 years later. They reach out and say, hey, I still got my pledge card I signed. The wristband you gave me broke. Can I get another one? I've worn it every single day since you came and spoke. Just being willing to listen, Karen, is really, really important. We've lost the ability to communicate with our children anymore. We really, truly have. I walked through a restaurant the other night to grab a bite to eat, and I saw a family of four, mom, dad, and two kids sitting at a table, and every single one of them were doing this, you know, on that cell phone. They weren't even speaking. We don't eat dinner around a dinner table. We eat it in front of a television set. We don't talk. We don't communicate. We don't ask those hard questions of our children. A lot of times when I do an open to the public evening presentation, I'll ask the parents that attend, how many of you ask your kid every day when they get home from school, how was your day? Boy, the hands go up by the hundreds. And what do they say? It was okay, it was fine. And then what? Well, then they go to their room and they get on their iPad or their computer. That's not communicating with our children. They're telling you their day was okay, that my day was fine, because they don't think you really want to know. They don't want to have that conversation. Guys, when 1 out of 4 of our children have a plan on how to take their own life before they graduate high school, maybe it's time we ask those hard questions. Maybe it's time we say, hey, I heard about this statistic and I want to know, are you that 1 in 4? Have you ever thought about it? Do you have a plan?
Kurt,
Or,
you are approaching it in talking to the young people, but it all starts with parents, in my mind, because years ago when we had 17 young grandchildren, when they visited us, we had a basket at the front door. When they came into our house, they had to put their phones in the basket. Now they're all grown up, but we don't have to do that now, and that they're beyond that age. So why isn't there a program to have the parents say, when they're going off to school, put your phone in the basket, you're not taking it to school? So shouldn't that be the focus, that we've got to educate parents to do the things to protect their children?
yes, sir, that's very much something that we need to do. But majority of the time, parents are the ones setting that bad example.
Exactly.
We're sitting out to dinner and parents are on their phone as much or more than their kid. Bullying is a learned behavior. I see a lot of what I call generational bullying in the Native American communities. I've spoken at a lot of Native American reservations in New Mexico, Arizona, Washington State, Oklahoma, Texas. Grandma and grandpa bullied a certain family, and so mom and dad grew up thinking that that was okay and that I'm supposed to bully that same family, and so their kids, and they pass that down. uh, but yeah, parents have to lead by example. But when your child sees you on your phone instead of paying attention to that conversation they're trying to have with you, you know if we don't let these kids come to us with the little things, especially when they're little, and listen to them, and lay that cell phone down, and honestly listen to them and converse with them, then they're not going to come to us with the big things, because, they don't care. But, we do not just speak to kids. We do open to the public community presentations. Like I say, we go to churches, we go to any community organization that'll invite us. I've been to prisons and spoken. You name it, I've been there.
And I like to say, I just want to interject because that's my passion, Kirk. I really, really receive what you're saying, and I know we got time restriction, but I really would like to connect with you. It minimizes some of the anxieties. It builds community with the public speaking that I help these young individuals with, and I help them see a larger vision of themselves and how to express themselves. I think the reason that they resort a lot to the phone because they don't have other means of expression. And when you don't have other means of expression, it's easier just to go to the phone and substitute that time where, when I grew up in a time where we didn't have the technology, but we had to use the creativity and we had to go outside and we had to learn to figure it out. Well, in today's society now, everything you can just is at the right at your palm. So you don't really have to research that or do self-discovery. So when you're not doing self-discovery, you're not really using that part of the brain where because you could just go to Google. For example, some of the kids that uh, I come in contact with, they'll say, wait, let me fact check it. Go to Google. So I use that as a source down. Okay, you can go to Google, but Google does not have the humanistic side of this. I have the experience because I lived through this. And oftentimes they come back to me and say, you're absolutely right. I would like for you to put your information. I would like to further this conversation because I think what you're doing is very admirable. And I like to help any way I can. And I think this is amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you,
I want
sir.
to thank you for coming this morning, Kirk. Our meetings should probably wrap up. I know there's so much more we could talk about. A very important and moving topic that you presented to us this morning, and thank you for attending again. And we'll try to find some schools for you to visit in South Florida, and maybe at that time get together with you in person if possible. So, again, thank you for coming this morning. And because you spoke this morning, 25 children will be vaccinated for polio on your behalf for speaking to the club this morning. As you may know, Rotary is in the effort of trying to eradicate polio from the world. Unfortunately, it's making a bit of a comeback in certain areas in Gaza and some other areas. So the need is still there. And again, the need is important. You're doing a wonderful service to your son and for other children. So thank you again for being here this morning.
Thank you all.
And if we could end our meeting with the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First,
Is
is
it
it the
true?
truth? Second,
Is it fair to all
Yeah.
concerned?
Fair to
is
all
all concerned. Third, will it build goodwill
goodwill
and
and better
friendships?
friendships?
Fourth,
Will it be beneficial to all?
Beneficial to all
beneficial to all.
concerned.
And finally, will it be fun?
It'll be fun.
And thank you again, Kirk, for being here this morning. We are now going to have a board of directors meeting.
Thank you, Kirk.
For those of you who are staying for that.